Greetings everybody, I hope you are well. I am slowly getting there. As you can probably still hear, I'm very nasally and very bunged up. So again, if this video is very stop-start, it's simply because I'm pausing the recording to try and not give you an unpleasant sounds effect, shall we say. But we're slowly getting there, we're slowly getting better. Now, this video is going to start off with the PlayStation news that has come out recently, and then we're going to talk a little bit more broadly about gaming, where it's going, and just kind of the surprise that people had towards Blizzard's reaction when the whole "oh god, let's not offend China" thing came up. So let's jump in with PlayStation. Why are we talking about Sony and PlayStation and stuff? Well, the reason being is because Sony recently announced that PlayStation 5 is coming out, and they showed the development kits that are being sent out, and it was all very exciting, all super hype. Woo! If you're a PlayStation fan, doesn't interest me at all, but fair play to you. New console, new equipment. Ooh, fun, exciting, new games. Next gen. Ooh, excitement. On the same day they did that, when all the world was focused upon such things, they also announced to a lot of their European staff, you will no longer be required. And if you are required, well, you got to reapply for your job. This all got hidden and buried amongst the super hype in the gaming media for the PlayStation 5 coming out. Now, this is not uncommon. Any of you that will know anything about the news, they often bury, or companies will often bury, bad news around bigger events, be they good, be they bad. So for instance, let's say I develop baby food, and it turns out, well, we've left syringes full of horrendous stuff in a lot of the baby food bowls. Well, do you know what? We're kind of going to do that announcement when there's a royal wedding. We'll do that announcement, and then it'll get hidden, and nobody will know about it, because the royal announcement would be far more important. Or, God forbid, when there's a terror attack, you can release some bad news. Whoopsie, your cars are going to blow up if you turn the ignition on. Sorry about that. But, of course, it gets overshadowed because a terrorist event happened. And it's far more horrific and warranting of the headlines. This has been going on for time immemorial. Now, this only came out because employees started to go on to Twitch saying, Twitter. Oh, Grim, your head's still not entirely there, is it, buddy? You know, people were going on to Twitter and they were saying, oh man, this sucks that this happened, and nobody said anything, and it just kind of came out of the blue, and this is awful. Now, you may be sat there going, Grim, this is very different from the Blizzard thing. This isn't a corporation being naughty. This is just the way of the world. And I would agree with you in many ways. So let's go down the rabbit hole a little bit. Let's dive a little bit deeper and see why this is interesting. Now, if you don't know, Sony operate differently from a lot of other major companies. They don't centralize, or they didn't centralize. So what they would have is an American Sony, a European Sony, a Far East Sony, and they would kind of be very independent. They would still all come under the same umbrella, but they would operate with a far greater level of autonomy than most other companies and corporations would operate. What it meant was that, let's say for the American market, they could really push and focus on one type of game. This is going to be really big in the American market. We can focus on that. This thing, either be a peripheral, be it a game, whatever it is, they can say this is going to be far more for the American market. And again, they can do the same for Europe, and they can do the same for the Far Eastern market. Now, however, it's going to be far more generalized. It's going to be, we are pushing this game, and it's going everywhere. And that's it. There's no nuance. And that's a sad thing. And not because I don't want my eyes open to games that otherwise I wouldn't have, bothered to have looked at before. No, not at all. It's a sad thing because at the moment, universally, games are catered to the Western market and generally the Eastern market. Very specifically, there are rules that you have to follow in different marketplaces that mean that games are often tweaked. Now, what I'm talking about is World of Warcraft, funny enough. Let's go for this one. Let's take a Blizzard example. Their Wrath of the Lich King had to have all the skulls removed. Yeah, think about that. They had to change them so they didn't really look like skulls. The undead in World of Warcraft don't look like undead. Their bones don't stick through their clothing and things like that. The reason being is because you can't have that in Chinese games. You can't have that at all. There are things like violence, depictions of naked women, things you can't have. These get cut from video games. We have them in the West, but they don't have them over there because of their rules. Now that takes development time. Even if it's one guy sat there going, okay, I'm going to change this from being a gun logo on a wall, and I'm going to change it to being a martini glass. Or, I mean, gambling's a big one. You can't show gambling stuff. But I hear people cry, we have Twitter! We are gamers. We have a mighty army of gamers, and all we have to do is not buy products, and we are the ones with the power. We have the power to change this fate. And I would agree with you in many ways. But for two things. One, we are fickle. We are very fickle. I remember when the Epic Store came out, this is an example, and people were like, no, I'm boycotting the Epic Store. I'm not interested. I don't like their values. I don't like what they stand for. I'm not interested in getting involved in this. I'm going to stand my ground, and I'm going to have principles on this. Boom. There we go. That, as a gamer, that is an act that I can do, and it will be impactful. It will mean that they have to change the way they think, and when they do that, I may be interested to come back and give them money. That works. Then they start buying every current exclusive out there, everything that people want to play. They make offers and deals, and they bring those companies, they bring those games to their Epic Store platform. They give out free games, and suddenly everybody I know that made this noble stand was like, yeah, but I really want to play that game, so I'm kind of just going to get the Epic Store. I still don't agree with it in any way, but I'm going to do it. And that is one big problem. The other is, it's already happened. If you have this fear of, gaming bowing down to the Chinese, and we must stop this before it happens, it's already happened, my friend. It's already long gone. I was in construction long before I was doing YouTube or any of this kind of shenanigans and streaming and such forth. And I remember when the first time I heard that ships were literally in the ocean heading towards the UK to drop steel off for our buildings. And the ships would turn around and they would go to China because China had simply just paid more money. And you couldn't compete with that. And it might be that because I know of those stories and I know of those things actually happening, that I'm was more aware of how powerful China was and how much they would already taken over, as it were. And I don't mean this in a scary global sense. We're just talking about gaming. Let's not freak out and start, building bunkers in the back garden. But I want to give you an example of a company that everybody who's in gaming should be aware of, but maybe isn't. So, have you ever heard of Tencent? Now, I know 90% of you that probably listen to this channel are going, yes, we all know who Tencent is. But for those of you that don't, I shall read you their wiki pages. The link's down below so you can have a look yourself. I'm not going to pretend this is all off the top of my head or any such nonsense that I'm in any way educated. So, let's read this. Tencent Holdings Limited is a Chinese multinational conglomerate holding company founded in 1998, whose subsidiaries specialise in various internet-related services and products, entertainment, artificial intelligence, and technology, both in China and globally. Let's just skip ahead a little bit and read you something that people may not know. Tencent is the world's largest gaming company. Now, as I say, anybody that has any knowledge of gaming will already know all of this information. They will know what powerhouse Tencent are. But for those of you that don't, we shall carry on. We shall go down to the video game section. And this is where you find out that China, their companies are already well entrenched in our current gaming world. And that this is more than just bowing. It's more than just, companies like Blizzard going, oh, you can't mention those things because it's going to get us in trouble. It's the fact that companies like Tencent already own most of these companies. They literally have huge share values in them. I shall carry on. Let's read a little more rather than me getting distracted. Now, we'll start with 2011. Tencent started hosting massive multiplayer online games, such as Call of Duty Online, consisting of previous Call of Duty titles with added content, as well as the game League of Legends, which they now fully own. Tencent also partially own Battle Royale games such as Fortnite, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, PUBG, and fully own Ring of Elysium. Ring of Elysium I actually heard good things about. Now, let's go into what Tencent has acquired over the years, okay? Tencent acquired a 5% stake in Ubisoft. Yeah, they own 5% of Ubisoft. But it doesn't stop there. In May of 2018, it acquired a majority stake in the New Zealand company Grinding Gear Games, the developers of Path of Exile. As of March 2018, Tencent is the largest video gaming company in the world, as we said before. So let's read the companies that they own or partially own. Grinding Gear Games, as we just said. Miniclip. Riot Games. 100% of Riot Games is owned by Tencent. Glue Mobile. Epic Games. Activision Blizzard. Ubisoft, as we said before. Paradox Interactive, a company that I love and do Crusader Kings, which is one of my favourite games of all time, Crusader Kings 2. And Supercell. Now this by no means is a full list at all. Shall I tell you another company that they own a big chunk of? They own 9% of Frontier Games. Yes! Let's put it this way, you will not be seeing anything in that game regarding the Chinese fur trade. Now, I am not saying panic, everybody should get their tinfoil hats on and suddenly believe there is a giant conspiracy and the world's going to end because the giant corporations are taking over and that we're in, some sort of RoboCop futuristic Detroit where, our world and lives are ruined and run by corporations. It's just the way the world is. It's just how it all goes. What I'm saying is don't be blinkered. Don't be blind. Don't see a buzzword or a hashtag and jump on that. Do more research. Look into it for yourself. These things aren't hard to find. We have the resource called the internet. And it's fantastic for finding things out. I didn't know a lot. I didn't know as much as Tencent owned until I started to read about it. Just a little bit of research, a bit of information. I'm not saying don't be loyal to companies and don't be... I love Corsair products, for example. And the reason why is because I buy them to do a job. And every job I have bought them for to do, they have done perfectly. They have never failed. So therefore, I will carry on doing that. That's fine. I mean, I think the question is like blind loyalty towards FIFA and Call of Duty. Which is madness, but that's a whole separate video. My closing little bit is going to be this. You need to look at all companies, all of them, be they gaming or whatever, like Twitch thoughts. They want your money. They will say whatever they have to say to get your money. And they will be so grateful. They might even say your name and send a little tingle down your spine. They'll be so grateful. Thank you for giving us this. You guys make this. You're the reason we do this. It's for you guys. You're amazing and you're wonderful and you're fantastic. The minute that that's done, they've moved on and they don't care. They really don't. The next day, they're looking at, let's make that money again, people. Let's make that money again. And they'll bring out another Rebox edition of the same thing so you buy it. Or a new DLC or a new microtransaction for you to purchase. They just need you to keep paying. And the thing is, if you dare question it, if you dare say, hey, is this cool? Is this right? And you're not that dutiful pay pig, that they will call you toxic, entitled, they'll say all the things we've all heard constantly, especially through Gamergate, where it was, oh my god, why can't, fans are horrible, nasty people and we don't like them. Because you're saying things that, don't paint us in a good light. Think on this. Two last things to think about. A Twitch thought can get banned for showing their lady parts or their bottom or boobs or whatever on stream. And they take the hit. Their technical air quotation share price goes down because they're suddenly not streaming. And that's what they do. That's where they gain their revenue from. But because they did that, in the long run, their share price soars back up. I'm not saying Blizzard's share price will soar back up all of a sudden, but this allows them to keep suckling from the teat of China and to do more things with China. And in the long run, that's better for Blizzard financially. Now, the goodwill of their fans, the goodwill of their customers, no. That's gone. But have people stopped playing World of Warcraft Classic? Nope. So they don't really mind. They'll take the pain of a few people on Twitter being angry with them. Now, little pop quiz for you guys, a question. The new Call of Duty mobile game sold well over 100 million copies so far. Hugely popular. The biggest mobile phone game, I think, of all time now. Let's have a little guess. Who made that game? A company called TIMI. Who do you think, and I'll leave you with this, who do you think owns that company? Yeah, you guessed it. Have a good one, everybody. Keep your tinfoil hat on over the weekend. I'll talk to you all later. Have a good one.